be talking about why animals are endangered in any way and how can we help? How can we help prevent it from going any further? So my name is Aquaria Doyle. My purpose here on YouTube is help provide educational animal-related videos, so that way later on this YouTube channel and my team and I's Instagram, which is featured in the video, can open our own pet rescue, and this will help so much to help support that pet rescue. So yeah, I have obviously the Instagram in the video the entire time. I also have all the links down below to go and donate to special animal related organizations, and I also have an events website, so you can go on this Humane Society for the USA to see if there's any local events going on near you at any time. So yeah, I think that is everything that I covered in the intro. So let's get started in today's video. So this is a really good fact that I found, or a statistic that I found on let's see, on a certain website that I went to. So 50% of the world's species are at risk of extinction. 50%. That's obviously half of 100. 50% is quite a lot. So let's get into why. Why are they endangered? Well, that's what we're here for. So the first one is destruction of habitat. This is mainly because of us, the humans. We like to tear down any forests for obviously paper and other materials that we function on a daily basis. They tear down certain areas to build houses, buildings, and other things, which in turn destroys the habitat for any living thing there, so that way they have to relocate, or if they don't know where they are, they don't relocate and they're confused and they die of hunger. So to kind of summarize that a little bit, humans, us, destroy habitats that belong to certain animals that are wildlife in the area. This causes unfamiliarity with the area due to their habitat being destroyed, which in turn either drives them out into a different part of the habitat, and it might be different and it might be not, but it still causes unfamiliarity and confusion. And in turn, they will most likely die of hunger because of the stress, being confused, not knowing where they are, their local bush that they like to feed off of, or certain prey that they like to feed off of is no longer there and they don't know where to find it, so they pass, unfortunately. And that is the main reason of endangerment, because of us. You'll come to find that out, that we are to blame for a lot. And I'm not smiling and laughing because I think it's funny. I just think that it's wild that we contribute so much to animals literally almost going extinct, and it's irritating, I'm not gonna lie. And my only way of coping in that way is to make it seem like I'm being nice about it, but in all reality, I very disappointed in the humans, us. So I just want to put that out there, that I don't think it's funny. I don't find it amusing in any way. We are single-handedly destroying the species, and it's disappointing to say the least. So, prevention. What can we do to help if we're not anywhere near the African elephants that are getting endangered, or the tigers that are getting endangered. What if we live in, I live in Arizona. I don't live anywhere near things like that. I have a zoo. That's the closest I can get. Well, what you can do, you can raise money and do fundraisers to help support organizations that are trying to get rid of people not destroying habitats, where they can include restrictions, like restricted areas where they cannot touch it. Well, or we cannot touch it. I hate to be associated with it, so I'm gonna say they from now on instead of us, because I'm not a part of that and I will never be a part of that, so they do that. They're the ones destroying the habitats. This is also, some of the links are also included down below in the description to help raise money for restricted areas to not get destroyed in the description. And a simple way that you can kind of share with other people too. Reduce the use of fertilizers and pesticides, because there's so much wildlife near you that you don't even know of that you're just driving away by just using that. And wildlife can vary from an animal that you can see to an insect you can't. And everything has a cycle. I mean, if you know Lion King, the circle of life, everything helps revolve around each other, even the smallest thing. So by you just doing that helps. A really good thing to do if you're into gardening, use native plants. Now you want to research this like thoroughly. Use only native plants that are found in your area to attract like butterflies and moths and bees and other insects, because then that helps the wildlife. Because you know what eats insects? Like lizards and stuff. And you know what eats lizards? Snakes and stuff. Like, I can't emphasize enough that it's literally the circle of life. You need this in order to have this and this and this and this, and it just goes on and on and on until you get a really big animal. And if there's no more prey for them because of that circle of life stopped, that animal is now endangered because they died of hunger. So the smallest thing that you think is so small it doesn't even matter, it does. It really does. The second one is overhunting and overharvesting. So I will go over this in another video, but it's called trophy hunting. It's quite popular for whatever reason, and I will never understand. In my mind, it has something to do with pride, and it disgusts me in every single way, and I don't mean to be a Karen about it, but I will be a Karen about it if it helps not do that, because trophy hunting in my mind is just displaying something that you killed just because it looks big and it's rare. And since it's rare, it's obviously almost extinct or endangered if it's rare. So I will do more research on it on my own behalf, but that is my opinion, so don't quote it. But that is why it makes me upset, and I'm not one person that goes for hunting at all, and I will never. Even if my life depends on it, I will eat plants. I will be a vegetarian if I have to. Overhunting provides no food for the predators. So if you're overhunting, let's say deer, all the animals that rely on deer for food now are endangered because they died of hunger because you're taking away their food. In my mind, okay, this is just a rant. We hunt for what? We have all the food we need. Why do you need to go out and hunt? Why? You go to your local grocery store and you have all the food you need, all the meat that you need. Why do you need to go hunting? Even if it's just for sport, why? Why take a life just because you want to have fun? In my mind, it never made any sense, and I apologize if I'm upsetting people, but I'm just not educated enough, and that is just my opinion, but I just get so confused about why. Why do you do that? I mean, I've heard stories. I went to college with one person, and their uncle was teaching them how to hunt, and this person didn't want anything to do with hunting, but they were hunting bunnies, and the uncle would shoot the bunny, and the bunny would be alive still, but barely, and suffering. So what he would do is take the bunny by the ears and slam it against the truck to completely kill the animal, and would laugh about it. I get so upset about this. I'm so sorry. Why? What's the point? What is literally the point? It just blows my mind. Why? It just seems like serial killer behavior. You're laughing because that's how you killed something, but for what? And in the story that he told, the bunnies would literally just get thrown out the window because they had no use for them. So it was just literally for nothing. They didn't use the meat, they didn't use the body, they didn't utilize the whole thing, they just killed it just because. And stories like that make me disappointed that I'm a human, because now I have to associate myself with people like that, and it sucks. But that's totally unrelated. I just thought I would add that in there. But yeah, there is a really good example for overhunting. There's a thing called a passenger pigeon that was overhunted to a point of complete extinction, and it's no longer alive. Like, there's no more in the world. That's an example. And I'm gonna read a quote that I thought was something you should hear. The reason for the mass extinction of large mammals like mammoths, Macedonians, and camels in the Americas between 13,300 and 15,000 years ago was because today humans hunted them into extinction. And I'm just gonna leave that quote as it is. I'm not gonna explain anything more. I provided the links down below for all of the things that I used to research on this video. So if you are curious more about that, I have all the links down below in the description. So yeah, what we can do for prevention. There's a way to help enforce stricter laws for hunting. So I have part of my family that goes hunting. They trophy hunt. They hunt here in the area. Well, not here in the area, probably around the forest. They hunt, but they utilize the meat. They utilize everything about the animal. They don't just hunt it, take some pictures, and leave. They take pictures, which just kind of irritates me a little bit more. But you can help enforce stricter laws on hunting. There are already laws out there about hunting, I believe, and also don't quote me on this, but I think it is about the time of year that you can go, and you can only hunt a certain amount. And you have to sign up to go, and only a certain amount of hunters can go at a certain point. So you have to sign up to go, but I'm pretty sure people will do that without asking, and they just hunt illegally. So that does happen all the time. And there's no real way we can actually avoid that, because criminals will do whatever they want. And if they're not caught, they will continue to do whatever they want. I believe I covered this in my next video a little bit more, but we'll go over the next point for right now. Avoid, if you're able to, if you're involved in any way, avoid illegal animal trading. Obviously, this is a huge factor. I have no experience for you, no opinions about it, because obviously if you are aware of it being illegal, you shouldn't be taking part of it anyway. And also, if you do, by chance, which you won't admit it, so if you know the animal is endangered and it's getting traded, that is a factor that you are supporting. Yeah. Also poaching, that's a big thing. Don't support poaching. And you are also able to, I have to read this because these are big words for me. Regulate enforcement, consumption of game meat, which is a hunted animal, and that's all the meat, that's the game meat that you hunted. Have better strategies managing activities taking place within the hunting spectrum. And one thing that you can personally do for sure is spread awareness about it. Make sure people know that it is an actual problem, and that is a huge factor of why all these animals are endangered. And another thing that you can do personally is to create a following. Make sure people know about it, but also make sure you have a following for it, so that way you have people that are just like, oh yeah, I'm willing to help in any way. That way you're not alone. You have people to back you up. You have people to help support this cause that you are so passionate about. So that's a huge way that you can help prevent it, but there's no absolute way to, unfortunately, 100% prevent this from happening. And number 3, I'm only covering 3 in this video, is invasive species. So these are new species that are like in a new area that steal supplies from other living beings that need that supplies, but they just take it over, so that way that living being has no food source, so then they end up passing. So invasive species are, in the word, invasive. They invade space and take over what they can to reproduce. And that is why they are so problematic. Now, what can you do to prevent this from happening any further? And there's a few things that you can do, and these are all very doable by yourself. Clean any hiking or fishing gear that you have. If you went fishing, make sure you clean it off, and make sure you're not bringing that home, because you can most likely, in like muddy boots that you went hiking in, or any dirt that you have, if you're in the water and you're fishing, most likely they'll attach to your equipment. Make sure you wash it off, because you will be bringing all those invasive species to your home and in your front yard, and it just causes more problems than resolved ways. So just make sure you wash off all of the stuff that you brought hiking or like camping, fishing, just anything you're doing outside in the wilderness. Make sure you wash it off, wash everything, just like cloth, just wash it off. Obviously you're not gonna have to wash it off in a local pond, because if you think you're doing something there, you're not. You're just repeating that, because obviously if you're going fishing and you're in the water, you're gonna wipe off everything with a cloth and just water that you brought, just so that way you're not bringing home all of these species that are not familiar with the area, and just not providing the right amount of materials for other wildlife in your area. Another thing, when you're buying plants and you like to garden, you love plants, make sure you're asking around the place that you're buying the plants from. Make sure you're not buying an invasive plant. If you're going online and buying seeds from like Amazon or something, make sure those seeds aren't invasive species that you're just bringing out into your front yard or your patio, because then that can affect the wildlife around you. Obviously ask, if you're like going to Home Depot and you have a plant that you want to put in your front yard, ask the employees there and be like, hey, is this an invasive species? Do I have to worry about this? And if they're like, yes, it is, and just ask them, okay, so what plants can I take home that aren't invasive? Home Depot, I don't think actually sells invasive species. I think they only sell plants that are native to the area, just because they're in a garden area that is kind of in the outside, so they kind of have to survive, but all the seeds that they have in their little section of seeds, make sure those aren't invasive by asking. And if they don't know, because sometimes they don't, do your research. Go to websites where you can find out what your local wildlife plants are. That way you can actually help the wildlife in your own front yard, which is awesome. You get to see more butterflies, more moths, more bees, more stuff, more insects that are supposed to be there. Now, you can volunteer to help remove invasive species. I believe I have a website linked down below that you can go ahead and see if you're living near anything. It's free. You can like go hiking and they'll give you more information about it. They'll show you any plants that are invasive, and then you can go and do that on your own after volunteering with a team. Like, you can gain so much experience and knowledge, and it's just going hiking with a bunch of people guided for free. It's just taking your time. There's something that some states actually enforce it, like they control it, and it's called a weed warrior, where you can volunteer your time and be a weed warrior. Obviously weeds are invasive species, so if you have any weeds, that's a really good way for you to personally get rid of invasive species by yourself. And that is the video. I just want to end it with me. My name is Aquaria Doyle. My purpose here on YouTube and on my Instagram with my team is to provide educational animal related videos, so that way we can later open up our own pet rescue here within our journey of our business. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have me and my team's Instagram on the video, every single video, so that way you know where to find us on social media. That's the only social media that we have, and that's probably going to stay that way for quite a while. So make sure you follow us on social media. We will provide any updates that we have, if any, and just post random stuff. So be sure to check that out. In the description of every video, I do provide links for any donations for any organizations that you want to make that are animal related, and any species that are going endangered that you can donate to if you're not living near, so that way you can contribute in some way because you can't volunteer. And I also have in the description down below any events that are going on near you within the US Humane Society, so that way you can volunteer locally as well. So I think that is pretty much it. Thank you for your time, your patience for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video. So goodbye.